Good morning. Good morning from the Hideway and also from the Bullitt County Historical Society. Today's Tidbit is brought to you with a grant from the Georgia Humanities. BCHS is very much indebted to what Georgia Humanities has done for our society. Did you know that we had a double murder in Bullitt County on the Dover Bridge over the Ogeechee River? This was long before US 301 was paved. The bridge was wooden. The victims were laid to rest in Union Meeting House Cemetery. The year was 1922. 17-year-old Willie Mae Dixon was a pretty young lady from Cleto. Cleto was a small town between Dover and Statesboro. Elliot Padrick was the son of a Methodist preacher and attended Asbury Theological Seminary in Kentucky. He was following in the steps of his father, who preached in the little country church in Eureka, Georgia, another Bullitt County hamlet. Many of my McDougal cousins lived in Eureka. My daddy's first cousin, Isabel Hall, married into the McDougal family. During a visit to Eureka is when Elliot met Willie Mae. Willie Mae's mother convinced her to marry Elliot, but on the day of the wedding, Willie Mae refused to come out of her room. Elliot was smitten with her, but she did not love him. The ceremony was called off, and the few guests that came went home scratching their heads. However, Mamie Lou, the mother of Willie Mae, insisted that her daughter go through with the wedding, and the young couple finally exchanged vows. The marriage was doomed from the beginning. Elliot and Willie Mae lived apart more than they did together. Willie Mae constantly pitched a "I'm going home to Mama" tantrum. The governing body of the local Methodist conference learned of the Padricks' marital problems and refused to ordain Elliot as a minister. It is thought that they lived together for a total of 30 days. The marriage was indeed rocky, but no one foresaw the events of Monday, June 19, 1922. Elliot forged a $100 check, purchased a .32 caliber 5-shot revolver, and summoned his wife to meet his train at the Cleto depot. Cleto was a country town that thrived in the area and in the era when cotton was king. The railroad depot was so tiny that it only had one bench. It was directly across from the street where the McDougal Outland Company, which owned 1,000 acres of farmland, a country store, a cotton gin, and was involved in the naval stores industries. Inside the store, there were soda crackers, which came in barrels, and cheese came in huge rounds covered with a cheesecloth. A chunk of cheese, some saltines, and a tin of sardines made a noontime meal for cotton pickers, railroad workers, and plowmen. This is to this day a favorite lunch of mine. I add a dab of mayo to the sardines. Oh, my mother would turn up her nose. During the numerous times the couple parted ways, Elliot believed, rightly or not, that his wife was seeing at least one man in Statesboro. There was no hard evidence of her unfaithfulness, but jealous husbands are seldom rational. Elliot methodically planned the details of his hideous plot. He wrote Willie Mae asking her to steal her father's Ford and pick him up at the Cleto depot. He suggested privacy, since they had not seen each other for so long. Willie Mae agreed to meet her husband, but didn't travel alone. Her mother, Mamie Lou, drove the Ford. Elliot climbed into the Ford, kissed his wife 3 times, and warmly shook his mother-in-law's hand. It was known he hated his mother-in-law and called her the witch wife. Soon the fatal crime commenced. He shot Mamie Lou twice and severed her spinal cord. He shot Willie Mae 3 times, once in the arm and twice in the head, breaking her jawbone and shooting below her left ear. After mortally wounding his wife and mother-in-law, Elliot knew he had to escape. He hurried the half-mile to Dover into Scriven County. The murders had occurred in Bullitt County. He approached a local citizen and asked for a ride to Sylvania. Just 2 miles outside of the town, police officers halted the vehicle and they arrested Mr. Patrick. He was later moved that night to Augusta for safekeeping, as Willie Mae and Mamie Lou were kin to many, many people in this area. He was tried in the Superior Court of Bullitt County. Elliot audaciously took the stand and opened his testimony with prayer, asking the jury to pray with him. He was sentenced to life in prison for murdering Miss Byron Dixon, Mamie Lou to those who knew her. He never stood trial for Willie Mae's murder, his wife. He died in the Georgia State Prison in Milledgeville on March 12, 1961. Now you know the rest of the story about the 2 murders on the Dover Bridge near Cleto, Georgia. Thanks for sharing with me. Bye.